Welcome to Football with Cheese. In this video, we're going to discuss the state of the Pittsburgh Steelers as they are 5-4, about halfway through the season. But first, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell for notification so you never miss one of my videos. All week, I'm going to make these. I think I'm going to do the Bears tomorrow, and then we'll see. If there's any teams that you'd like me to do a deep dive on, what's going on in the franchise, where they've been, where they're going, let me know in the comments down below. I haven't decided what other teams I'm going to do. I'm going to try to do one each week up through Saturday. But the Pittsburgh Steelers, like I said, are 5-4, and they're coming off a Sunday night loss to the Chargers that frankly was pretty embarrassing. They did not play well in just about every phase of the game. A lot of people are blaming this on Aaron Rodgers. I'll say this. He did not play that well. But he wasn't just horrible. I see all these people on X. He's cooked. He's done. No. He's not. He's been above average this year. He's looked really good in some games. Other games, he's made some throws like, what are you doing? This wasn't one of his better games, but it wasn't his worst. And he wasn't getting a lot of help. There were at least 3 drops, maybe more, that I saw with just terrible drops. He puts it right on their hands. Johnny Smith had one. Calvin Austin had at least one, maybe 2. Calvin Austin had 7 targets, 2 catches, 14 yards. And he's basically their number 2 receiver. The team just didn't play good enough. The offensive line didn't play good enough. We'll get into that in a second. But to blame all of this on Aaron Rodgers, that's insane. There's no better option you could have gotten that was available. I know some Steelers fans were torn about signing Rodgers, but the Steelers did not have a good quarterback plan in place for the end of Ben Roethlisberger's career. They drafted Kenny Pickett in the first round. He was a 3rd or 4th round pick on every draft analyst board. Just a stupid pick. Insanely stupid. Oh, we need a quarterback. Let's just take the local pick guy. He was bad. I think in 17 career starts, might have been 19, something like that, he threw 2 touchdowns once in a game. He's a backup, and maybe an average backup at best. So they didn't have a plan in place, and it's still a problem. So they have to go for these veteran quarterbacks. Went for Russell Wilson, Justin Fields last year, Aaron Rodgers this year. Despite being in his 40s, he is better than Russell Wilson or Justin Fields. So I don't know who else they could have gotten. And I saw some idiot on X saying that they should have signed Daniel Jones. Okay? There's no Jonathan Taylor. There's no Tyler Warren. The offensive line's night and day different. It would not have worked out for Daniel Jones with this offense. But the biggest problem to me for the Steelers is they have some strength, but they have some obvious weaknesses. And those all showed up in this game. And that is why I want to make this video. Let's just start off with the offensive line. It's not very good. Unfortunately, they were missing their left guard. And Broderick Jones, the left tackle, is just terrible. First round bust, his 3rd year. He's just not very good. He can't play. They need to address left tackle in the offseason. But the left side of the offensive line was horrific last night. Mason McCormick, the right guard, pretty good young player. Same with the center, Zach Frazier. I like them. Fontano, right tackle. Jury's still out. He's been okay. Maybe a little below average. But the center, right guard, right tackle, very young. Okay, no problem there. There's talent. The left side was a disaster last night. And Broderick Jones has just never been a good left tackle in this league. And there were plays where Aaron Rodgers just didn't have any time. And either took a sack or threw it away. And even on some of those plays, he put the ball near the Steelers receiver's hands. It was either dropped or just not caught. So it was not all Aaron Rodgers' fault. The offensive line is just not very good overall. And certainly did not play well last night. It's a better run blocking offensive line, in my opinion, than pass blocking. But it's not sensational in either one. And offense strengths, obviously, Jaylen Warren's a really good running back. Yeah, really good. Not many people talk about him. He can catch the ball. He can run. He's been hurt a lot in his career. Hasn't played a ton. So probably why he's not talked about enough. But 14 carries for 70 yards. He averaged 5 yards a carry. They need to run the ball more. They ran 16 times through 31 times. With their offensive line having trouble pass blocking, you need to run the ball more. A little surprised their offensive coordinator, Arthur Smith, who I think is a very good offensive coordinator, has not run the ball more than he has this year. Maybe Aaron Rodgers just really wants to pass and he's influencing it. I don't know. Another strength is DK Metcalf. He's a very good wide receiver. He's big, he's fast, he's got good hands. The one knock I'd have on him is sometimes he doesn't always seem to be giving a full effort. Like, he doesn't fight for those contested catches. And a couple of plays this year didn't look like he was running hard enough. Like in the first quarter, Rodgers and him didn't connect on a deep ball. Might have changed the whole game if it's a touchdown. Looked like he was running hard and then kind of slowed up a little. I don't know if he would have made the catch anyway. Looked a little overthrown, but just seems like there are times where Metcalf could be trying a little harder. Now, the rest of the receiving corps is a disaster. Galvin Austin's not a number 2. He's not a number 3 in my opinion. He really should be a 4 or 5. Roman Wilson did have a good touchdown. He was basically wide open. He has been a disappointment so far in his second year. The tight ends, Pat Freiermuth, I'd say he's above average. He's solid. Darnell Washington is what he is. He's big. Jonnu Smith's been very disappointing. He had a really good year for the Dolphins last year, and he had a really bad game. Terrible drop. So the receiving core overall is not good. And what the Chargers did is show you how you beat the Steelers. It was a brilliant game plan. The Chargers, Jim Harbaugh, Greg Roman, Jesse Minter, the head coach coordinator group is maybe as good as any in the NFL. They double-teamed DK Metcalf. They put a safety over top on the whole game and dared the rest of the receivers to beat them, and they didn't. That's how you play the Steelers. And they got a lot of pass rush, a lot of pressure on Aaron, who just can't move like he used to. The MVP, Aaron Rodgers, in his prime, he might be fine with this offensive line, but he just doesn't move like he used to. He still has a big arm. He still has that quick release. He just does not move like he used to, and he's just not as accurate. So that's the offense. And on defense, the strength, obviously, is the pass rush. The front seven pass rush is incredible. TJ Watt is amazing. Nick Herbig, Alex Highsmith. There's a lot of talent up front. But it's almost like they have to get pass rush for the defense to have a good game. They're so reliant on it. And pass rush is not consistent. Doesn't matter how good your pass rush is. Doesn't matter if you're the Packers or Broncos, Seahawks, Texans, whoever, have great pass rush. There are stretches where you're not going to get pressure. The quarterback's going to have time. So you can't just rely on pass rush. And the secondary's been a disappointment to me. It looked really good on paper. They've had some injuries there, and they had moved Jalen Ramsey to safety. He was having a very good year at corner. But Joey Porter Jr. and Darius Slay just haven't been that good this year. I don't think they've been terrible. They just haven't been very good. And moving Jalen Ramsey to safety hurts the cornerback group. So, to me, the Steelers just are too pass rush dependent on defense. And on offense, the offensive line doesn't pass block good enough, and they don't have another legit playmaker besides DK Metcalf. Those weaknesses all showed up in this game, and that's why they're 5-4 and not 7-8 win team right now. They're above average. But what's crazy about the Steelers is we've seen them in some games look like a contender, and then we've seen them look like a team that maybe should be picking top 5, like last night. Atlanta Falcons are the same way. Luckily for the Steelers, they're 5-4. Atlanta Falcons are 3-6. They've looked amazing in a few games. What they did to the Bills was incredible. And they've looked so bad in others. They should have beaten the Colts in Germany. So, inconsistent. But the Steelers are inconsistent because we know their strengths and we know their weaknesses. And they went up against a really well-coached Chargers team, and all those weaknesses showed up. Let's talk about Mike Tomlin. If you don't know with the Steelers' history, they've had 3 head coaches since 1969. They don't like to change coaches every 3 or 4 years. They want to pick their guy and stick with him. Chuck Noll went from 69 to 91, then Bill Cowher from 92 to 2006, where he just retired, he wasn't fired. And then Mike Tomlin since 2007. Tomlin does have a Super Bowl. It's been quite a while, and he lost one as well. And the Steelers have not been back since, I believe, 2011. And if you look at Mike Tomlin's record over the last 4 years, basically since Ben Roethlisberger retired, 9-7-1, 9-8, 10-7, 10-7. And this year they're 5-4. Look at the schedule, they're looking like a 9-18. And a couple weeks ago, they were the betting favorite to win the AFC North. They had a 2.5 game lead on the Bengals and I think a 3 game lead on the Ravens. Don't quote me on that. Now, third best odds. Ravens have the best odds. Bengals have the second best odds. Probably because Joe Burrow might come back sooner rather than later. But just looking at the standings, they are in first place, 1 game ahead of the Ravens and 2 games ahead of the Bengals. So Vegas does not believe in this Steelers team at all. Of their 4 losses, the one that hurts the most has to be at the Bengals a couple weeks ago. Yes, they lost to the Seahawks. Seahawks look really good. Lost to Green Bay. They got demolished in the second half. It is disappointing because they did have a 2-score lead at halftime. Obviously lost to the Chargers, but the Bengals, 33-31. You scored 31 points and lost. And that Bengals team did not have Joe Burrow. That is the loss, if they missed the playoffs, that you will look back on. If they had won that game, they'd be 2 games ahead of the Ravens. And even if they split with the Ravens, let's just say they split, they lose at Baltimore, win at home, then you're still 2 games ahead of them with all the rest of the games. So that one, to me, was their worst loss this season. Going forward, they have the Bengals at home. They can get revenge. They should win that game. And then they're at Chicago, another very winnable game because the Bears, despite being 6-3, are really that good. More on that tomorrow. And then they host the Bills. Not an easy game. I know the Bills looked terrible this past week, but still have a very good team. Then at Baltimore. So this is an important stretch. They need to beat the Bengals and Bears because there's no guarantee they can beat Buffalo or at Baltimore. Then they have the Dolphins, which they should win in cold weather. You never know. Then at Detroit, good luck with that. And they finish with at the Browns and Ravens at home. So I'm thinking 10-7 at best. They would have to go 5-3 to get that. But yeah, let me know in the comments. What do you think? What do you think the record will be at the end of the season for the Steelers? Do you think they should be the 3rd best odds in the division? I think they should be 2nd. The Bengals are 3-6. There's no guarantee Burrow will just come back and they'll just win every game. So I think that's a little crazy. But one more thing I want to mention about Mike Tomlin before we wrap up here. A lot of former Steelers wanted Tomlin gone years ago. Definitely last year. It's very torn. Steelers veterans, former players. Some of them were supporting Tomlin, and then a group, Terry Bradshaw among them, has wanted him fired for years. And I just don't know who you're going to get that's better. I don't necessarily think he's one of the best coaches in the NFL. I don't think that. He's definitely not one of the worst. I don't know if they win games because of him, but I don't think they lose games because of him either. I think he's a solid coach. And I get it if you just want a new voice in the locker room. But when I hear Terry Bradshaw talk, and it's really painful to hear him talk because he's such an idiot. It seems like he thinks the Steelers every year should be a Super Bowl contender and win the division, no matter what. And that is not sustainable, especially in a division with Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow. So, anyway, Steelers fans, let me know in the comments, what do you think? Do you think you make the postseason? I'm thinking 9-8. I think 9 or 10 wins. Same every year. That's what it looks like to me. Make sure you subscribe, hit the bell for notification. If you enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up. Really helps out the channel. Share this with anyone who loves football because I do cover all 32 teams. Talk about college football and the draft as well. Every Tuesday night, me and Mike do the Lights Out podcast. We do it at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, where we talk MLB, college football, and of course, NFL. Link in the description. Check these out if you have not, and I'll see you in the next video.